our next speaker. Our keynote speaker is Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee is currently the Executive Director of the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. His major responsibilities revolve around the implementations of the FinTech Facilitation Office of HKMA, with an aim to establishing a FinTech ecosystem and developing Hong Kong as a FinTech hub. So without further ado, please help me welcome Mr. Lee to the stage.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. I understand I only have 20 minutes. Am I right? Okay, I will stick with the time. Okay, after a heavy lunch, probably oh, Josh, yeah. Are you catching a flight at 4 o'clock? Oh, okay, we are going to the airport together then. Okay, because I only got 20 minutes, I don't want to spend time to talk about other things. Okay, what I would like to share today is more what we have been doing, the HMA with the stakeholders and market participants and banks and tech firms for the last 2 years. And that sort of smart banking initiative announced by our chief executive, Mr. Norman Chan, back to, I think, October last year, and about a number of initiatives. And what I try to do is to focus a few of those major ones, and then let you know what's been happening and what we're expecting in the next 6 to 12 months. Okay, this is, I believe, is a major initiative sort of to be implemented by the HMA, the faster payment system. And basically, it's more for the retail level, real-time, 24/7, point-to-point payments, from customer to customer, corporation to corporation. Is a big enhancement to our RTGS system, not only interbank payments. What's unique or special about this? And if you look at other jurisdictions like UK, Singapore, I think the US, they have just launched their faster payment system as well. We are not one of the quickest one to implement that. I mean, you look at the UK, they've done it since, I think, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, okay? And why we wait for so long? And in fact, back to, I think at least about 7 or 8 years ago, we start looking at the need to build a faster payment system. At that time, we call it retail RTGS. Okay, it's a real-time payment system to facilitate customer point-to-point payments on a real-time 24/7 basis. But at that time we looked at that, there wasn't a business case, okay? And then we didn't see the need at that time. And then we kept monitoring the market development until, around 3 years ago, then we revisited this subject. We thought that's the right time, okay, to start the implementation and the development. And we are going to launch that in September this year. We have a number of unique features. The reason we think this is the right timing, in Hong Kong, we have banks. Okay, we also have a number of e-money schemes. I mean, in Europe, they call e-money schemes. In Hong Kong, we call them stored value facilities. Okay, like Octopus, Alipay, WeChat Pay, TNG, et cetera, et cetera. And then we want to use this opportunity to have a full connectivity among banks and also SVFs. If you look at other jurisdictions, honestly, I haven't seen any of them, okay? In the UK, they allow PayPal to join faster payment system. But PayPal, I think they have a credit institution license from the regulators. And apart from the UK, PayPal is a participant. I don't think I've seen any of them. In Singapore, they have they call it fast payment system, but they only have 7 or 8 banks joining that. Okay, but we are talking about all retail banks, plus I think all the licensed banks basically will be participants of faster payment system, and we're talking 100-something banks. And then I think at the moment about 6 or 7 SVF. Okay, the major SVF will be joining that. So in that case, by September, if you want to make a payment using, by individual, say for example, from all of us, you can make a payment to your HSBC account or vice versa. Okay, so it's a full connectivity and real-time, 24/7. Another thing is merchant payment. I look at most of the faster payment systems over the world. Not many of them cover merchant payments. Okay, they only cover maybe individuals, and then maybe between business accounts, corporation and corporation. But for merchant payments or bill payment, etc., we will cover that. Okay, banks are very busy, and we're working together to implement another project, is the single QR code. Because QR code industry thing is a very user-friendly, easy to implement solution. So what we are planning to do is to, okay, each payment service provider may have their own unique QR code. We want to implement an international standard to combine individual QR code into one single QR code. So the merchants, say for example, if they can accept like 5 payment schemes, they don't need to stick 5 QR codes on their counter, okay? They only stick with one QR code that can accept 5 to 6 payment schemes, for example. Okay, that also another breakthrough. And then we have the addressing scheme. You don't need to remember the account number. You can just, using the mobile phone number or unique identifier, if you're a corporation, to receive a merchant payment, maybe you just want to tell your customer, your counterparts to use that unique identifier to make a payment to you, okay? And also your email address as an addressing scheme to make the payment. Okay, because there are quite a lot of features and facilities are quite unique comparing to other existing faster payment system. And this is the only beginning. Okay, actually this morning before coming here, I had a meeting with my team, thinking about next 3 to 5 years, not only in fintech, I also responsible for note printing, currency, and settlement for the HMA, etc. And then we are looking for 3 to 5 years. But for fast payment, although we haven't launched it yet, but I asked the team to think about 3 to 5 years. We want to use that as a piece of infrastructure, and then how to make use of that to fully integrate with other platforms. For example, using Open API, okay, to open up the platform. So if you are a corporation, if you are a financial institution, how to make use of that to facilitate payment. Okay, if you apply that to the individual world and a lot of fintech ideas, like, for example, you go to a social media platform, you go to a healthcare platform, whenever you want to make a payment, it's fully integrated. They provide a payment option there. You don't need to quit the platform, the app, and then go to a bank's payment platform to make the payment. Okay, that at the more individual level. But how to make use of faster payment infrastructure to integrate with a large corporate platform, say for example, to facilitate payments. Okay, trade finance project we're working with Joshua, probably, I don't know whether you mentioned that this morning, okay? And then whether that can be integrated with other major business. Okay, we're talking the future. Okay, this is one of the exciting things. I think that is very important, to allow other businesses. Open API, okay, we are still under the consultation at the moment. Please, if you are interested in Open API development, go to our website, and then we have a consultation paper. We are doing our industry consultation at the moment. Go and look at that and give us some feedback. Okay, I think it will last until probably middle of March. Okay, please let us some of your feedback on this development. What we are planning to do, okay, we are working with the banking sector. Really want to integrate with tech firms as well, and then to make use of Open API to integrate their product and services with other industry as well. The first stage, okay, we suggest to use, after consultation, when we issue the guideline or the framework, within 6 months, then bank can open up some public information like product and services, like the mortgage, personal loan information, et cetera, to allow the industry. Maybe banks, they can do that themselves, to aggregate, other bank services to provide their customer to have a one-stop look, of all the same services, to their customer. Or maybe a tech firm, I've seen a lot of similar kind of development, like credit card products. Some tech companies, they aggregate all banks' credit card information, the product, and then the bonus scheme, whatever, into one single platform, so the customer can have a very good user experience to explore. And then we are thinking about 12 months to open up application as well. Say, for example, if you look at those products and services, you're interested to apply certain service of a particular bank, then you can actually, from that app, you can do the application, for example, apply a credit card or personal loan, whatever, okay? Then you need the open API to facilitate that happening. Account information and transaction, that become more sensitive. So we need to work with the industry, how to make that happen. In Europe, in the UK, they make legislation to force banks open up all these sort of things, okay? But we want to use a market-driven approach. We want to talk with the banking sector and the tech firms, the best way to do it, okay? We understand banks are a bit concerned about security as well, because you open up account information and transactions that, you got to handle the security issue properly, otherwise, it will create other issues. So that we think we need a bit more time. So we after consultation, we will continue to discuss with the industry the best way to do it, taking into account other jurisdiction development, okay, like Singapore and Europe. Okay, that's the open API. So please go to our website to let us know your feedback, because we need the industry participation, okay, and then to make that happen. Trade finance project, I think this is a very exciting project. Okay, by the way, I put those countries there, doesn't mean they are already have a partnership with us, but that's the dream, okay, to make that happen. But the reality is Hong Kong and Singapore. Okay, the reason Georgia and I are flying to Singapore, we are meeting with MAS and the government and the banks in Singapore to sort of develop the cross-border network. We call it GTC, and Global Connectivity, Trade Connectivity Network. Okay, this is a project for trade finance using DLT or blockchain. Okay, the development underway at the moment is in Hong Kong, we will be building a domestic platform. And so far we have 7 sort of, we call founding banks, okay, committed to build a domestic platform. And then we have another, at least about 8 to 10 banks showing interest to join that as well. So we got to work out the governance, the onboarding requirement, and those are still under development. But there will be a Hong Kong trade finance platform, and then we have already selected an external vendor. Okay, the sort of contractual process is underway. So hopefully we will enter into a formal contract with a vendor to build a domestic platform using DLT. And then Singapore, they don't use DLT for the domestic platform. They call it National Trade Platform. Okay, but they're thinking we have agreed to connect the Hong Kong Trade Finance Platform and the Singapore National Trade Platform using a DLT network. And then we'll connect with our network. That's a big challenge, And I think we spend a lot of time to discuss from a technological perspective how to connect. If we don't know, we have decided what technology to be used in Hong Kong, but we have not decided what technology, DLT technology to be used to the GTCN technology, okay? So in case there are 2 different technologies, how to connect them. Okay, a lot of industry experts tell us that they won't say impossible, it's very, very difficult, very challenging, okay? And even, same technology, that will be some challenges to be handled, to connect them. So from a technological perspective, not easy. And then banks are very concerned about confidentiality of their business transactions. So we need to handle that, how to sort of to share certain things that they are happy to share, but not to share certain things that not even letting others have a record, although they cannot read them. Okay, so there are some challenges in terms of confidentiality, sensitivity of sensitive records as well. So, but the dream is not only Hong Kong and Singapore. We plan to connect to Europe, China, definitely China. Okay, we are talking with mainland China, and to connect because China trade is very, very important, particularly One Belt, One Road, and then other Asian countries. And Singapore will be helping us to connect with some ASEAN countries, and then we are talking with other jurisdictions as well. I hope by end of this year we will have more jurisdictions to be a partner of this project. And I think if that happens, probably one of the biggest use case for DLT. Okay, I think at the moment, although you hear a lot of talks about application of DLTs, but I look at them, a lot of them in terms of the scale, the coverage. I don't think it's really a large scale of coverage particularly cross-border, involving different jurisdictions, involving, I don't know, 30, 50, 40 institutions or banks or financial institutions. But for this one, if we make connection with more jurisdictions, easily we can have like 40, 50 institutions participating in that, few jurisdictions, and also, we will bring in customers to the platform as well. Okay, because not only bank, when they do trade finance, they need to bring in their buyers and sellers to the platform in terms of user, the kind of scale. I think it could be the first case, if that happens. Okay, that's because time up. That's the trade finance project. Sorry for the rush. Another thing we think is very important for the development of the fintech ecosystem in Hong Kong is talent development. Okay, and we have been doing the fintech facilitation for 2 years. A few areas we hear from the banking sector and also other industry that they're crying for people and for example cybersecurity, and we have launched the cybersecurity fortification initiative I think about 18 months ago, and then we required basically all licensed banks in Hong Kong to go through the assessment process. And I think in the initial stage was about 30 banks, and then the second stage, all licensed banks need to cover that, and then they need to go through, because CRAF, the cybersecurity assessment framework, and then if they are sort of medium or high risk in terms of inherent risk, they need to conduct the intelligence-led cyber simulation attack test, whatever, I can't remember the exact name, okay? And that's even more stringent. Okay, to do that, they need a lot of experts to do that. And I have to admit that in Hong Kong, because of the number of assessment and testing to be done, a lot of banks telling us that they cannot find enough experts or professionals to help them. So quite a number of them, they actually need to go overseas. For example, go to London to get the professional to Hong Kong to do the assessment and test. So only cybersecurity, we are crying for people. And then we need to have people from a data analytic, AI, other areas, or DLT, okay, to help the fintech development. So because of that, we are thinking it won't happen overnight. So we want to start from the really basic, from university. Okay, so we have the FCAS 1.0 last year, is FinTech Career Accelerator Scheme. So 12 months ago, we worked with 12 banks and 9 universities in Hong Kong, and to offer about 70 internship program to the university students. So they take a gap year and then work at banks. Okay, 70 of them. And some of them may do 6 months, and some of them do 12 months. And it's still underway, okay, at the moment. So last week, we launched the FCAS 2.0. We expand the scheme to cover 70 to 260 places now, including 4 components. So we put another 3 components there. The Cyberport University Partnership Program, that's very interesting. If I'm young, I probably will apply for that. So they basically train the student to how to set up a fintech startup. Okay, then they give them like 2 months training in Hong Kong, and then send them to Stanford for 10 days, I think about 10 days, to a boot camp, and then learn how to set up a startup, and also have chance to go to Silicon Valley to meet with some of the fintech leaders to learn from them. And then come back if they will have a competition. And there are 60 places for that partnership program. And then 10 to 15 teams will be, if they won the competition, they will be granted 100,000 Hong Kong dollars, as a prize for them to do a startup. And then the Shenzhen summer internship, we will be offering 50 places for students to go to Shenzhen, working with those really big WeBank, Tencent, Alibaba, and Ping An technology, okay, for up to like 6 weeks, full time there, okay, and then they will live there for 6 weeks and work with them, and then arranging activities and job training as well. And then the gap year placement will continue last year's program, but we will expand the number of positions from 70 to 130. And then from 12 banks to 20 banks. Okay, so I heard from some of the students they're really exciting experience because they really involved in cross-border DLT, payment project, artificial intelligence project, and banks are really, not asking them to do photocopying. They really ask them to do some real job. Okay, I'm happy to hear that. And then the fresh graduate job program. Okay, the first year we only offer around 20 of them, their full-time job. So after graduation, okay, not only when they are students, after graduation, there are 20 places to start with, maybe more, okay, fully sort of funded by the government, to work at Science Park or Cyberport with the fintech firms. Okay, it's a full-time job for 1 to 2 years. And then we are thinking, going forward, we will expand that scheme so to have more sort of real job training or experience, to the graduates. So with that, we hope in the next sort of 4 or 5 years, we can train up like 500 to 1,000 fintech professionals to supply to the fintech sector in Hong Kong. But that's just one part of it. We are also, exploring with Shenzhen, other, companies as well, how to do sort of transformation. When I say transformation, for those who are not fintech background or may not be cybersecurity professional, but they have IT knowledge, how to sort of transform them to a fintech professional. We're thinking about that, how to do more on-the-job training or program to allow them to learn new skills and then provide more professional to the market. So these are the major development. Okay, I think, I'm overrun by 2 minutes. Sorry about that, but that's the major thing. We still have quite a number of other projects. Like yesterday, we had an announcement of virtual banking. I think that's another exciting development, and there are more than 10 of them approaching us, want to set up a virtual bank in Hong Kong. And we are doing it, again, go to our website to look at the consultation, the draft guideline for virtual banking application. Give us the comments, the feedback, because we really want to make that happen. And if we look at Asia, I think at the moment, I may be wrong, I only see really virtual bank or digital bank in China, but not other jurisdictions in Asia. In London, you see virtual banks or digital banks. Okay, they don't have any branches. And I've experienced some of them because when I was in FCA and Bank of England, they showed me those apps, quite interesting. And then those digital banks they work with, like Barclays or HSBC, to sort of bridging their product and services. But in Asia, I don't think, tell me if you know, maybe in Japan, but I don't think completely branchless, completely, digital bank. And I think WeBank is one of them in China, and a similar model. But I expect to see something happen in the next 6-12 months in Hong Kong. Okay, and that's very exciting and I see this is a very good business. Okay, if you are interested, go and think about that. And SME difficult to get loans, and there are lots of micro loans. When banks don't want to cover that sort of market segment. Okay, big business potential. Anyway, I better stop here. Thank you.